Ainsley, yeah, the new campus reform study shows another public university ignoring conservatives nationwide. This time it's the State University of Albany. Get this. The survey found that of the 85 speakers hosted by the university during the last school year, 64 liberal, 19 had an unknown affiliation, and 2 were conservatives. And Albany is hardly alone. Liberal speakers outnumber conservatives in many public schools by a wide margin. So what does this say about free speech on college campuses and our next generation of free thinkers? Here with us to discuss it is the communications director for Turning Point USA, Candace Owens, and assistant editor at The Atlantic, Zachary R Wood, who is author of this great book, Uncensored: My Life and Uncomfortable Conversations at the Intersection of Black and White America. Welcome to both of you. First off, to you, Zach. You know what I'm talking about. You're at Williams College. You're in charge of booking speakers. You wanted to get some conservatives in there. What happened?
So in my case, it was just there were people who were saying that language that they found offensive could be equated with violence. And that, to me, is something that's illogical. It's fundamentally not true. And that's the argument that we need to counter.
Right.
That's the thing that we need to address.
And you say, hey, for the most part, you're a liberal Democrat, but you want to hear other sides.
Absolutely.
Candace, that's exactly how you feel. But this study, you say, is the least surprising study that you've ever seen.
Absolutely. This is what we do at Turning Point USA. This is what we talk about. These college campuses have essentially become islands of totalitarianism and fascism, and they create a lot of hurdles if and when you do want to bring a conservative speaker to campus. It's a major area of problem in this country, and it's one that has to be countered and tackled. And it's not only that, it's what they're teaching when these speakers come to speak. It's fundamentally anti-Americanism. Linda Sarsour is welcomed on every campus, and I am not.
And what does that say, Zach? Do you think it's unhealthy? Even if you're a liberal Democrat, is that unhealthy for the next generation of would-be voters, let alone deep thinkers?
It is. It detracts from public discourse, for one. Students go out into the world and they're not prepared to deal with disagreement. I mean, what are you going to do when you get your first job? Are you going to say, just because I disagree with someone, now I have to leave the room?
I think also, Candace, a lot of people don't want to be argued with because they can't win an argument, so they avoid it. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's exactly right. You cannot win arguments with emotion. When they understand that their emotions can't trump logic, they get very upset. And we see these protests. We go on campus and we are protesters. We are shut down. Our students are referred to as perpetuating ideas of white supremacy. What are these ideas, you ask? Free markets and capitalism. These are seen as threats on college campuses.
Right. I want you to hear what Jeff Sessions said yesterday and get you to comment because it really helps out this segment. Listen.
They have cry closets, safe spaces, optional exams, therapy goats, and grade inflation. Some schools are doing everything they can to create a generation of sanctimonious, sensitive, supercilious snowflakes. We're not going to have it.
Well, it's easy for a 70-year-old to talk about the next generation. Every older person likes to ridicule the next generation. But how do you feel about it, Zach? Is he hitting the mark here?
I think he's definitely right about the fact that there are students who believe that tolerance is not the answer. What you should do is shut down and shut out those you disagree with. We also have to call out the administrations, the college presidents, the deans, those adults in the room who are saying this is how we should be dealing with this when we shouldn't.
Right. Real quick, Candace?
He's exactly right. It comes down to the universities and the professors, the student bodies who control the budgets, which allow these speakers to come to campus. So that's exactly right. And look, Jeff Sessions said that at our event yesterday. So he was speaking at a Turning Point USA event in front of a bunch of high school students. So I'm optimistic about the future of this country.
Right. And I'm optimistic if you two run for president at one point against each other. It'll be the most it'll be a highbrow conversation that everybody has. You guys disagree.
Maybe together.
But you know what you both can do? You could take the other person's argument and argue it out because you're not afraid to hear opposing views, which makes it more interesting. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, guys.